Hello and welcome back to my channel. I haven't uploaded for a while as I've been quite busy, but with GCSE exams and tests coming up, I thought I'd do a maths tutorial about expressions. These may seem difficult, but once you master the technique, are quite easy and you can get easy marks. So let's start with a triple bracket in the form of a plus b, c plus d, e plus f, all in three brackets, but I'll show you what this means right now. So this is the form that I'm talking about. And these represent numbers or letters, as I'll show you in a second. The numbers and letters are called characters, as we can call them that for short. So let's start with a fairly simple triple bracket. X plus 3, y plus 1, y plus 2. In order to solve this, we need to expand and simplify them, and I'll show you what I mean right now. If you see a triple bracket, what you need to do is you can either expand the first two brackets or expand the last two brackets, so the first and the second or the third bracket. It doesn't matter which way you do them because you'll still end up getting the final answer. But what I normally do is expand the first two and then expand it by the third. So let's expand the first two. So we take the first character of the first bracket and times it by the first character in the second bracket. In this case, it's x times y, which would be xy, because we don't write x times y in algebra, we just write xy. And then we take the same term and times it by the second term of the second bracket to get 1x, but we don't write 1x in algebra, we just write x. So if it's 1y, 1t, 1 anything, we just write the letter. So, and also it's going to be positive because all of these are positive. There's two pluses which make a positive. And then we do the same with the other number and do the same process. So we take 3 and times it by y to get 3y. And then we just do 3 times 1, which is 3. So, and then we add 3. And then we put this in brackets to show that it hasn't fully been expanded yet, because we still need to expand the third bracket. So we take this one and times it by the last bracket, which is y plus 2 in this case. So xy times y would give you xy squared. What we need to do in this case is we need to take each term from this bracket and times it by each term in this bracket. So we have xy times y, which would give you xy squared. It's positive because, again, we've all got pluses. If you've got the same letter and your times in them, it would always be squared. If you've got two x's, and your times in them, it will be x squared, two s's, it will be s squared, and so on. So in this case, it's xy times y would be xy squared. And then we take the same character and we times it by 2, which would give you 2xy and 2xy. And then we take the x and times it by the y, which would just get you xy. Put them together like that. And then we get the x and times it by 2 to give you 2x. Now we've used these two characters, let's move on to this one. So 3y times y would give you 3y squared. And then we go on to doing 3y times 2, which is 6y. And finally, the last character of this bracket, times it by y to give you 3y. And then 3 times 2 is just simply positive 6. Now this is a very long list of characters in a row. We should have 8 individual ones, excluding the pluses. So we have xy squared, 2xy, xy, 2x, 3y squared, 6y, 3y, and 6. In order, because I mentioned at the start of the question, you need to expand and simplify them, we need to collect like terms, and I'll show you what this means right now. So we look at the first character and we see, is there anything that matches to it? So is there anything that's got xy squared in? It could be 4xy squared or 5xy squared or anything that's got xy squared in. So we look and there's nothing, so we just write xy squared. And then we look at the next character, is the one with xy, and there's 2 with xy, so it's we just add them. So it's add 3xy. And then we look at the next character and we see that there's 2x and there's nothing similar to it, so we just write 2x. And then we look at the other one and 3y squared. We look and there's nothing that includes y squared. However, there is there, but don't get mixed up because there's an x first. Because there's y on its own, we just leave it as it is, as there's no like terms. So we just write 3y squared. And then we take the next one and 6y, and there's one similar to it, which is 3y, so we add them to get 9y. And then we take the last one and there's nothing similar to it, so we just leave it as add 6. And that here is the final answer. So this is a fairly easier question that you might get in your test. Now let's move on to something a bit harder, which includes addition and subtraction. So this is the answer here. Xy squared plus 3xy plus 2x plus 3y squared plus 9y plus 6. Now let's move on to something a little bit harder, which includes addition and subtraction in the triple bracket. The next question I'm going to do with you is 3 in brackets 3 minus 2q, 3q plus 3 in brackets, and q minus 2, which is another triple bracket. As you can see just there. What might puzzle you is we've got a number outside the bracket, so we have to start by expanding the first bracket. If there was a number outside this bracket or outside that bracket, we still have to expand it. So we just times this term by each term in the bracket. So 3 times 3 is just simply 9, and 3 times minus 2q is minus 6q. It wouldn't be plus, as you can see, because it's negative 2q, and then times by 3 would be minus 6q, as positive and negative make negative. And then we put it back in brackets because that's been expanded, but it's not obviously fully expanded yet. And then we write 3q plus 3q minus 2, as this is the triple bracket. Now we can expand like we did in the first question. So 9 times 3q would be 27q, and it's positive because there's not a negative sign before it. So it's 27q. And then 9 times 3 would just simply be 27. Next up we have a negative 6q times 3q. This would equal minus 18 squared because we've got 2q. Q times q would be q squared. And then minus 6 times 3 is minus 18, negative and positive. And then we just put them together to get minus 18q squared. And then minus 6q times 3 would be minus 18q. And then we put it back in brackets because hasn't been expanded yet. And then we times it by the last bracket, which is q minus 2. So we do the same process as before. So it's 27q times by q would be 27q squared, as you can see there. Next up we do 27q times by minus 2, because it's a negative times a positive, which would give you a negative 54q, as 2 times 27 is 54, and then you've got your q. And then we do 27 times by q, which would simply be 27q, positive, because they're both positive. And then 27 times minus 2 is minus 54. There's no letter next to it, as there's no letter, as we're not timesing by a letter. And then we do minus 18q squared times q would be minus 18q cubed, because we're not timesing by any number, so we just leave the minus 18 as it is. The reason it's q cubed is because we have q squared initially times by q is q cubed. If it was q squared times q squared, it will be q to the power of 4, adding the amount of q's we've got. If it was q squared times q cubed, it will be q to the power of 5, because we're adding the powers together. So just q on its own, in order to make it a bit simpler for you, would be q to the power of 1, but we don't write q to the power of 1, we just leave it as it is. So it will be, this answer would be minus 18q cubed. And then we do minus 18q squared times minus 2. In this one we have two negatives, and two negatives make a positive, so it will be plus. So 18 times 2 is 36, and we've got q squared just there, so we put the q squared in. Next up we've got minus 18q times q, which would be minus 18q squared. And then we've got minus 18q times 2, would simply just be plus 36q, as we've got two negatives again, which make a positive. 18 times 2 is 36, and when we put the q in. So we should have 8 individual characters again. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, excluding the pluses. And then, as before, we collect like terms. So we look for the highest power first in order to make it easier, which is minus 18q cubed. So there's nothing that is like 18, there's nothing with q cubed anywhere here, so we just write minus 18q cubed. And then next up we've got q squared, and we've got 27q squared and 36q squared and negative 18q squared. Since these two are next to each other, we just do 36q squared minus 18q squared to give us positive 18q squared. And then 18q squared, we add it to this because this is positive. This 27 plus 18 would give us plus 45. And then because it's q squared, we've got to add the q squared in. And then we've got q on its own, no power to it, it's just q to the power of 1, which is just q. We've got minus 54q plus 27q, and we've also got 36q. So let's add these two together. So minus 54 and 27 would just give us minus 27q, because this number isn't above this number, so it will still be a negative. So minus 27q, and then you just add 36q. If that's a bit complicated, just swap them round, so it's 36 minus 27, which just gives us positive 9, and then we've got the q. I'll just rewrite that so it's a bit clearer for you. So this would give us positive 9q, because 9 and q both look quite similar. And then finally we look at the one without any letter, which is just minus 54, so we just put minus 54, and then this is the answer. minus 18q cubed plus 45q squared plus 9q minus 54. So now let's do one final question, which would be one of the hardest questions you'll get on expressions on expanding triple brackets. 1/4 of 2x plus 4 in brackets cubed. Here it is so you can see it. Now you may be thinking that's not a triple bracket. However, there's a power there, which means it's that in brackets the same 3 times. If this number there was 5, it would be that, or different numbers or letters 5 times. But we don't write 1/4 3 times, as it's not in the brackets. So let's rewrite this as it would look in a triple bracket. So it would be 1/4, 2x plus 4, 2x plus 4, and 2x plus 4 again. Now it's a triple bracket, but first, like in the last question, we need to expand this bracket. So 1/4 times 2x, 1/4 would be the same as dividing 2 by 4. 2 divided by 4, or 1/4 of 2, would be half of x, because we've got an x there. So let's just write 0.5x. Next up, we've got 1/4 times 4, which would just be 1, as 4 divided by 4 is 1, or 1/4 of 4 is 1. They're all positive, so we don't need to worry about any negative numbers in this situation. And now we just put it back in brackets, as it still is a bracket, and we write 2x plus 4 and 2x plus 4 again. Now we'll just do the same process as before. So 0.5x times 2x would be x squared. It would actually be, because half times 2 is 1x, but we don't write x. And anyway, because we've got 2 x's, it's x squared, because x times x is x squared. So let's just write x squared. And then we've got 0.5x times 4. So half of 4 is 2, and then we've got an x plus 2x. And then we've got 1 times 2x is 2x. And 1 times 4 is 4. And it's still a bracket, because we haven't expanded the other one. We need to times it by the third bracket. So now let's expand it to get the 8 characters as before. So we've got x squared times 2x is 2x cubed, because we've got a 2, and then x squared times by x to the power of 1 will be x cubed. As we've said before, we don't write x to the power 1, we just write x, so x squared times x is 2x cubed. We have x squared times 4 would be 4x squared. 2x times 2x is 4x squared. So we've got like 4x squared again. And then we've got 2x times 4 is 8x. So hopefully you'll be getting the hang of how you do triple brackets now. And then 2x again times 2x would be 4x squared again. And then 2x times 4 is 8x. And then 4 times 2x is another 8x. And finally 4 times 4 is 16. So as you can see, we've got 8 again. And now we collect like terms. So we look, there's a cubed, so, and there's no other cubed, so we just write 2x cubed. Just to make it clear for you, if there's to the power 4, we take the highest power first, just to make it a bit less complicated, just to start from the higher powers and work your way down. So in this case, there's 2x cubed. And then we've got x squared. We've got quite a few x squared. We've got 3. So we just add them together. So 4 plus 4 plus 4 is 12. And there's x squared. If it's add, you don't change anything to do with the power or the x. We just change the number. So which is 12x squared in this case. Further on, we've got three numbers with an x next to them. So we just add them together, 8, 16, 24. 8 plus 8 plus 8 is 24. And then x, because there's an x next to them. And finally, the number on its own is 16. So we just add 16. And this is the answer. So I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you now feel more confident with doing triple brackets. So we're doing any of the triple brackets, you should be good at them after watching this video. So I hope you found this video helpful, and let me know in the comments how helpful you found it, and I'll upload more maths topics in the next few days. Let me know if you want to see more, and please like and subscribe and turn on the notifications so you don't miss any videos. And of course, I'll see you next time.